support.
And what is your structure of organization in a way? How you do? Will it participate with you youth more precisely, and how you connect with decision makers? What is your process?
Okay, we have 4 board groups, local groups, who are in charge of specific parts of the city, and they arrange meetings regularly about things we're passionate about, often about feminism, socialism, international politics, and so on.
How we influence our mother party?
Yeah. Because we're quite close actually to our mother party, both in the city and nationally. Since we're we're a big town but close to each other, it's easy for us to influence our politicians.
What I find very good about the Norwegian politicians is that they are very close to the people. It's not the kind of power imbalance isn't that big, and therefore I think it's easier for kind of Norwegian youth who are engaged in politics to meet their politicians than it is for maybe people in other countries, not just in Oslo, even though it is obviously easier for us because we live so close to each other.
So the left-wing socialist party is quite big in Oslo. Is it 15%?
Yeah,
it's about 15%.
So you have a connection. You just don't do things so they can get your attention. They listen to you and you cooperate.
Quite regularly, yes. But we're also a big fan of activism. We often take part in demonstrations, and that's also quite easy for us because the largest of the demonstrations are in Oslo most of the times because the parliament is here.
In Norway, when we say that we have abortion rights that are very liberal, and we do in most cases, but after you've been pregnant for a certain number of weeks, you have to meet with doctors and they tell you if you're allowed to have an abortion or not, and we just don't think, we think that this limits the woman's rights to her own body and her own autonomy. And so therefore we went to different schools and spoke to different teenagers about why we think this is wrong, and also because there are a lot of teenagers and just general people in our country that don't know that this is an issue and think that we have kind of gained the maximum amount of abortion rights in this country. So therefore we have these kinds of campaigns both in the autumn and in the spring to just kind of inform about certain topics that we find to be important and that we also see that most people don't know enough about. So we just inform them about this, and then we speak to people, and we also say that if they agree with us and want to be more engaged, then they can become a member of
like how you as a society view the movement of LGBTQ plus people, and if they are open. Like Greece quite recently said yes to same-sex marriage, which is like a huge move for Greece.
It's a very conservative society.
Yeah, so conservative. And which I just had the question of how does your society view same-sex marriage and same-sex like adoption and couples?
Same-sex marriage became allowed in 2007, I believe.
It became 3 months ago legally, Nas.
2
2 months ago.
And after high pressure from the European Union, otherwise...
But congratulations.
Yeah, there was hatred.
Yeah.
Towards that decision. There is still like people saying, oh, we should do something about that. We shouldn't let Europe control us and make decisions about us. But like, how does that bother you?
Norway's quite liberal. We still have a long way to go, and many gay people meet a lot of hatred, but the rights are almost the same. Yeah.
It recently became allowed for gay people to donate blood in Norway.
Gay men are not allowed to donate blood unless they've not had sex in like 6 months, because of the risk of AIDS, they say.
Yeah, the thing I know is that trans women have a really hard time giving blood because they're like looked at as gay men when it comes to like giving blood. So trans women are not allowed to give blood.
Even though of course it's not a competition, I think our fights are a bit more kind of specific than yours, because you kind of, like you said, you like gay marriage just became legal. While we have had that for a few years, we are fighting some kind of more specific battles, like for example, better health care for trans people. And so I don't think that our society is as kind of bigoted as it sounds like yours maybe is. It's not that conservative. And of course we still, in our movement, we work a lot with trying to better the rights of queer people and LGBTQ people, but I don't think that it's kind of at this crisis level right now. It's more that just people who are more interested, like we are, we see the things that we want to be better, while a lot of other people in our society is just like, okay, but they have everything. So I think that that is maybe the downside of the place that we have gotten to right now, is that it's harder to get people engaged because people think that, okay, but queer people have everything now.
But we must never stop.
No, exactly.
How you work as a group in general, go to more structural. Like, do you have a board, local assemblies between the local chapter of Norway in this group, or together as a national assembly, let's say?
We do all of that. We have, like, the National Party arranges gatherings for all of our members, but we also have like a board in Oslo, and we arrange in Oslo like one meeting a week for anyone who wants to join our organization or learn more about the topics that we're interested in. And in these meetings we also arrange much activism.
And you meet regularly, like the Labour Party meets with their leaders, mother party. Do you meet also every year or something to discuss with them, like your views?
It's not really structured in that way. In my opinion, I think that our mother party is very interested in hearing our opinions on things, and also we have a lot of kind of designated places for our organization in their boards and in their meetings to make sure that we are represented, that we have someone from like some teenagers in present when decisions are being made, but we don't really have these kind of meetings where all of us go in and just discuss things with them because we are that separate. I don't think we mind that as much because our communication is that good and because we often agree on as many things as we do.
So is there like an age requirement to being like in your group to do whatever you do?
You have to be 13 to be a member.
Oh, that's pretty young.
You joined by your school at time? When have you joined the organization?
We?
Yeah. I mean,
when I was 14.
So from school?
Yeah.
What motivated you to join?
I joined last year when I was 18 and I'm turning 20 this year. I was very slow. I've been active in Amnesty since 2021 and that was my main organization. And then I realized that I should get like into like the politics of it because justice is something that I care about, and I've always been very radical to the left side. I met some people and they were part of this organization and I talked to them about it and they were like, you should like be a member, you should join this organization. I was like questioning why I hadn't done it earlier, but better late than never, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. My story is kind of similar to Nora's because my original background is from Natur og Ungdom, which is Norway's biggest organization for teenagers who care about the environment. And I was very engaged and I love doing activism and stuff like that, but I knew that there was some kind of political background that I wasn't really considering and that I didn't know enough about. And I remember SU, our organization, came to my school and talked a bit about who we were, and I just knew that I agreed with the political causes that we are now working with, and therefore I just wanted to be a part of that movement, and so I joined.
In Norway, every election year we also have an election in the schools, so everyone between 16 and 18 get to put in a pretend vote. They're not allowed to vote for real, like in the real election. Most of them, the 18-year-olds do, but the others don't. So we like do a pretend vote in school to get like an idea of how the political pictures is in the schools.
And also to see where the pupils in the school stands, just like generally. That's also the reason why we go to like high schools and not middle schools.
So what do you think is the main issue of the society right now?
There is a right-wing wave, like all over Europe right now, and Norway is caught deep into that, so there's not a lot we can do about it, just like wait for it to turn and like open up people's minds.
And therefore I think people want to vote for the right side because they allow people to have more freedom and allow them to keep their money if they are already privileged, which a lot of people in Norway are.
In more conservative countries like Greece, people go usually to the right wing because they're afraid of change. Here, you already are very acceptable as a society. Did that fear of change still exist?
I think a lot of people vote right wing because of the fear of change, yes. Because we are still quite attached to our traditions in Norway. Because I mean, there are a lot of right wing people who are very against immigration, and also because they vote right wing because their parents or their grandparents do. So I think that this is just something that a lot of people view as like Norwegian values that we have to keep and that we have to protect. Because even though we are a lot less conservative than it sounds like you are, there are still people who wish that we would be more conservative, and I think that people vote right wing because they want to kind of fight back on the amount of changes that we are actually allowing to get through.
So your organization, I suppose it's the most open to the immigrants, the people from different countries?
It's us and one party that is a bit more on the radical left side. So it's kind of both of us who are most radical when it comes to immigration.
This party is like in the parliament or
Yes,
not?
it is.
It's very small, but they have one.
Yeah.
We have 13 representatives,
13,
and they have one.
In schools, when you discuss, do you discuss with all the students, what is their opinion, even from the left or from the right? Do they challenge you also sometimes, or it's more information?
Absolutely, they do.
A lot of them, they like to provoke you.
What do you want if you had obstacles that you have to overtake and to go furthermore?
We aren't in the government, and that makes things difficult sometimes. Because the Labour Party is in the government right now, and sometimes they want the same things as us, but most times they don't. And I think it's very different to be on the opposition, because our only way of standing against something is like demonstrating, and that takes a lot of resources for us, and it's not always heard as much as we would like it to be. So I think what we really need to do to overcome those obstacles is to just be very clear on what we want, and to just speak to the people who don't know what to vote for, who don't know which side that they're on, and just try to get them over on our side in a way, more than trying to just sway the Labour Party and sway the government, because we have so many fundamental differences. And I bet that they didn't tell you this, but in our opinion, they are kind of leaning more towards the right than they were previously, and therefore the government is very different to us, more different than many people would think, I believe.
According to your values, how would you like to bring the change?
We're quite split, I think, in our organization in what form we think it's most powerful, but we believe that we have to keep demonstrating, and we have to keep doing activism in our society to get all of the regular people with us and want to believe, and that they want to believe in change the way we do. But we also need to get through to our politicians who can make the big real changes.
If we are able to get more power while not kind of watering down our own politics, then that is the best case. So therefore we do compromise with other parties when we find that to be necessary, because some change is better than no change in a way.
So you are like a socialist or communist?
We're socialists.
Yeah. So you believe that changes will come with revolution or reforming?
We are Marxists.
Marxists.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're a revolutionary organization.
Yeah, absolutely. But we also believe in democracy. So it's not as radical as maybe some other
revolution in the system, you mean, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say
We're revolutionary, we're not weaponized.
No, we're peaceful.
Okay. In order to achieve your goals, your values, etc., would you be able as a party to cooperate with other parties, not on the far right, but from the central right? to radical left.
Yeah.
Would you be in order to bring the changes?
Absolutely.
This is more reforming, not revolution.
They have done it before.
Yeah, you've done it before. Because 10 years ago,
Yes.
the
Before
Socialist
the
Left-Wing
right-wing party.
was a member of the parliament,
Parliament.
the government.
The government, yes.
Together with the Labour Party
Mm-hmm.
and the Social Party, and you had the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
Correct.
So they had quite a solid position in the government,
Red coalition.
and also got something done.
So the government now is less leftist than the then government.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
correct. But they're
Because they are
Still
center
leftist,
party.
but
dependent on us to get their suggestions through. So they have to like discuss with us when they want
To pass a law.
a law or
Decide on the
the
budget.
budget.
Yes.
what is the opinion of the young people? Do you think that up to that, like, do you think that they changed the opinion by the years? Like during this crisis, you had multiple crises. Do they change their opinion as you see in the discussion you have?
I would say it is, as Nora said previously, it goes in waves, I think, because when one party has been, like, let's say that the right party has been in government, I think then if they do a bad job or if people are fed up, like the people who are not on the right side, it only takes 4 years for people to get sick of that kind of politics, and therefore it kind of swings to the other side, and it most oftenly moves this way back and forth, that if the right party has been in charge for a long time, then the left movement is lifted a bit, yeah. But right now there is the center left party, the Labour Party, who are in government, and most people are very displeased with the way that they have been doing things lately, and I think that that's why, I think both because of the right wing wave being spread across the whole of Europe,
Yes.
but also because of the internal, like just in Norway, the way that the Labour Party has been doing things for the last couple of years, that doesn't help either. So I think that that's why teenagers change their mind, not necessarily because of like specific cases, but just because of who are in charge at the moment.
During the pandemic, it was the right side who was in charge or in government, and many people thought that they didn't handle that too well, and then that's why the change happened, and the Labour Party is now in charge.
Do Norwegians have trust to their government?
The Norwegian society is built on trust.
Trust with the
Yeah,
government,
definitely.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that people are often just like provoked by the government, that they just don't think that they're doing a good job, because we feel like they are a part of us in a way. They are very close to the people, and therefore if they do something bad, we are disappointed because we expected better, not because, oh, this is just what they always do. But that is also why it's easier for people like us in our movement to demonstrate against it, because we trust them enough to know that the consequences of it aren't that catastrophical. We can say what we mean without that being a bad thing, and in many cases that's also what we teach or what we learn from our teachers and in school, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to disagree if that feels right for us.
You have to be 100% correct to be a politician in Norway.
Yeah.
Because if you do something wrong as a minister, you are kicked out.
Do you think there's corruption in the current government? Then people go there to get more money.
No.
Absolutely.
The right-wing
Absolutely.
government?
You're
The previous? No.
And I think also
because you're in opposition to this current party. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, of course.
No, there's no corruption, and I think the media plays a big part in that. If there's something going on with our politicians or in our society,
They bring it to the
People would be outraged.
They told us about the environment, like aspect of things, and that they are trying to like ban the oil extractions and maybe not go into the extractions in the sea.
Yeah.
Like, what is your stand on it, your point of view?
We agree about that, and so does our mother party. The Labour Party, who are in government now, say that they're big fans of the environment and want to save it, but don't take any big action to actually do that. They want to keep taking up oil and make more money.
Are you in favor or against to join European Union?
Yes,
And
we're
why?
against.
Yes.
We're against.
Because they put out this image that they're so like inclusive and everything, and then they're like borderline racist, and they're like say that they're climate friendly because the CO2 goes like down inside of the European Union, but then it like outside it goes up because we just move it instead of like actually like keep it down.
Don't you think that if you join the EU and then fight from inside, you can
Bring the good in the society.
We understand, but we're such a small country that if we're
Okay.
part of this union, we will have no
No
say in
Okay.
how they do things, and we're also locked to a bunch of laws and rules that they make.
Ideally, we would be able to kind of change things from the inside, but because we are such a small country, as Emma said, we don't really have that power. And then, in our opinion, it's better that we make sure that Norway do things the right way, rather than to kind of just be a part of the EU and have to do things that they tell us to do, just because we have like this end goal of being able to influence things. Because most likely it would take us a lot of work and a lot of time to be able to actually influence them, and in the meantime we would have to do a bunch of stuff that don't really suit our country and that we don't really agree with.
That was really great.
Yeah.
I think you had a lot of good questions.
What I noticed that I like really much is that you are so young.
Yeah.
You have very strong opinions and clear opinions and expressions and thoughts that you can't find it in a 16 years old, for example, in Greece. It's really, really rare to find it.
Promising for the left wing.
This means that the system, the education system here, and how you make you an active citizens is really nice. That's something that we should bring in Europe, not only in Greece, but in general in Europe, to transform our societies.
Because in the school in Greece we don't have citizens education as much as we do, as we learned in the
We don't
previous
have at all.
day. So we don't have 4 hours. Even less, it's all together, it's not really, it's a bad thing. Because we have the history of bringing democracy and other values, but we are a bit behind now. It would be nice to cooperate further if you like have the opportunity to come and to make something to see also yourself and bring it in Greece and other countries in Mediterranean. It would be nice.
As the youth of Greece, we are on the streets, we yell our rights, we do everything. They don't care. They just keep doing whatever they want to do. So it's nice that you have a communication that you say, we have this problem, we want this to be done. You do things, they listen to you, they change things. So you should be proud because you are the change. You are the change.
I also think it's very great that you guys are able to kind of remind us to be thankful for that. Of course, we are very privileged in the rights that we have and the abilities we have to disagree with our government, and to be able to just remind ourselves of that sometimes I think is very valuable as well. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you very much.
Are you going to demonstrate tomorrow?
We are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We meet here again tomorrow at 1 o'clock.